My greetings to everyone. I always ask one question. What did our ancestors gain from worship of idols or serving all kinds of gods, being polytheistic? Some serve gods on the tree. Africans are known as places where you can go to meet native doctors, African magics, charmers, and all that. What have we gained from it? Because today you can see some people that are looking for some deceivers or antichrist evangelists telling people that we should go back to our roots. As if there is something we've gained from that nonsense. Even in this Africa, as a proof that Jesus is the light of the world, according to Matthew chapter 5, from verse 13 to 16. Light came to Africa through Christianity. Let me prove it to you. There is a man they call Nelson Mandela, which is the greatest or one of the greatest black men on earth that have ever lived on earth. Nelson Mandela's father died when Nelson Mandela was a young child. And his mother couldn't take care of him. The woman went to the church and beckoned on the church and pleaded with the church to help her out. The church beckoned a man they called Chief Judge Entaba Dariebo. The Chief Judge Entaba Dariebo has his own children. Yet, he adopted Nelson Mandela and joined him to his own children and trained him. They took him to Methodist school, primary, secondary, university. Nelson Mandela grew to become somebody in life. Nelson Mandela one day, he said, I have always regarded myself as a Christian. And I have always followed Christian principles and teaching. He says he's a practitioner of Christian principles and values. Some fraudsters want you not to live your life the way you like, because they are duping people. They are telling you that Oyibo people did this and did that. For that reason, you should join them to dupe others. George Ntabam took Nelson Mandela as his own child and trained him in the ways of the Lord. When missionary came to Nigeria, one of the first people that accepted Christ as his personal Lord and Savior was the late father of Chinua Achebe. That Chinua Achebe that wrote different literature, one of the greatest of his own time. One of his literature is Things Fall Apart and things like that. When his father accepted Christ as his personal Lord and Savior, that was the reason why they built one of the best hospitals in eastern Nigeria. They called it Yenu Hospital. They took Chinua Achebe to abroad. They trained him in education and all things like that. In things like that, he became somebody in life. There was never, and there can never be any major event on earth that can help humanity without Christian hands. There's a man they call Alexander Fleming. Alexander Fleming was the man that founded, the founder of penicillin. Alexander Fleming said that the gift and inspiration for him to produce this came from God. There's a man they call Sir William. Sir William was the one that sponsored the production of penicillin. He said without this Christ that had been with him, if not for Christ that was with him, he wouldn't have did what he did. By having the finance to sponsor a pathological lab in Oxford University that gave birth to the production of penicillin, they revolutionized medicine. When he died, when he was about to die, he wrote a will and said everything he has, 99.9% of them, should go to the building of the church, building of hospitals, building of research centers, and educational institutions. Now, all these Africans that are saying, let's go back to our root. What have we gained from that your root that you want us to go back to? Tell me one thing. Should I talk of Steve Jobs of blessed memory? Steve Jobs built one of the biggest in fact, he built a company today that analysis rates as that company alone worth $3 trillion. So if you join all the whole companies on earth, all of them worth 3 trillion. Then Apple alone worth 3 trillion. What happened to Steve Jobs? Steve Jobs, his father, Malek Jandali, dated a woman and got her pregnant, Scabell. Then when the woman got home, because both of them met in school, so they dated and they slept together and they got her pregnant. So the father of the girl said, you can't marry my daughter because you're a Muslim. Because Malik Jandali is a Muslim, is an immigrant from Syria to America. So he said, you can't marry my daughter because you're a Muslim. Myself, I'm a Christian. And the man warned his daughter, if you continue to see this man, I'm not going to finance you again. So they don't know what to do with the child, Steve Job. They beckon on a man. They call Paul and his wife, Clara. Paul was a member of a Pentecostal church member and a treasurer of the church. The wife was a Sunday school teacher. Both of them adopted that child and trained Steve Job in all aspects of life. Steve Jobs said that even his lifestyle and morals were all what he got from Christian principles. Even though he made mistake in later life, when he began to go to the other side to look for protection and all that. Now, what am I not saying? There is nothing on earth that happens without that light that came through Jesus. Nothing. The man they call William schooled in St. Andrews University. Medicine, 60% of medicine on earth today came from research from Oxford, from Cambridge, from all those universities built by the church. Why will any human being today wake up to say we should go back to our root? Nonsense. The best thing for Africans is to come back to come to Christ. That is our root. Give him your life. Surrender to him. African government cannot be good until when we come back to Christ and follow Christian principles. Look at today, just because Donald Trump is in America, Nigeria government are running scatter. That is the power of Christianity. Just because a man in his own country said that I may do this, and people are scampering. Why can't you go to that God? Who is his God? Donald Trump said, without this Christianity, without this Christian, without this Christ, there will be no American story. And when he became the president, he said we have to return God back to the White House. And this is time for Africans to return Christ back to the limelight of Africa. And God will bless every one of us in Jesus' name.